Hi guys, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact weapon review. Today we're going to take a look at the Skyward Pride. This is a 5-star claymore, and it came from the Moonsnat series, so this was a weapon that you can still get in the normal banner. Now this weapon is actually pretty interesting, because it's a claymore with a 48 base attack, so right now it should be the claymore with a higher base attack. Its secondary stats is energy recharge, and that's pretty much why. Usually when you have a weapon that has a secondary stats, energy recharge, crit rate, usually they have a very strong base attack simply because they don't have any multiplier in their secondary stats or passive. And that's why this weapon, in fact, it just has one multiplier, but it's not very strong. So it is a 674 at level 19, so it's pretty nice, and a 36.8 energy recharge. As we know, energy recharge means that when you kill or hit an enemy, they drop energy particle, and when you pretty much absorb this particle, you gain energy, and energy is used for your ultimate ability. So energy recharge means that you gain more energy from the same particle. So more energy means that you can use your ultimate faster, and this is pretty important because this weapon passive actually need your ultimate ability. So we actually have a weapon with a secondary stats that work with its passive, and that's nice. Now the passive is Sky Ripping Dragon Spine, pretty long name, but pretty much give you an increase in all damage by 8%. This means that both physical elemental damage are buffed. The only thing I think that this doesn't buff is the damage from elemental reaction, but I don't own the weapon, so I'm not really sure. But usually elemental reaction are just buffed by elemental mastery, they are not buffed by elemental damage. But it is a thing that you can test if you own the weapon. Now, and the second part is after you use elemental burst. So elemental burst is your ultimate ability. Your normal and charge attacks will be powerful. Why? Because when you hit an enemy, your normal and charge attacks create a vacuum blade that deal 80% of your attack in damage to enemies along its path, and this lasts for 12 seconds or for 20 seconds or 8 vacuum blades. So pretty much what does this mean? This means that you have an 8% all damage increase, that it's pretty low, a bit, because for example the 80% of 1000 is just 18, so it's 80, so it's not much. But the second part of the passive is when the strength came from. So if we take a look at this video, we have a guy with Razor. So he's gonna ultimate, so he used his elemental burst, as we can see, and then he's gonna attack. Now he's gonna switch, but now he's gonna attack, and I don't know if you can see, but behind this monster there is this wind thing. This wind thing is the vacuum blade, and this vacuum blade, as we know, deal 80% of your attack, so it's pretty nice because the first example, the 80% of 1000 is 800, and you can do this for 8 times, because after you hit an enemy 8 times and you do 8 vacuum blade, the effect goes off. But this has no cooldown reduction. So because this effect has no cooldown reduction, this means that if you have a good energy recharge and your ultimate has a low cooldown, you can actually spam this ability pretty much every few seconds, and having 8 attacks that deal 80% of your attack is actually insane. Even because if we see in the video, I don't know if you see us, but let's see it's better. When he attacks, he actually deal 2 type of damage. The first one, this one, the bigger one, it's the damage that he deal with its normal attack. The 700 is the damage that the things can do, so the vacuum blade. And the interesting part is, I think that it's right now, the next attack will show it. You see? The vacuum blade, I think that can crit. I don't know if it's maybe a Razor ability or any secondary stats, but the vacuum blade did more damage than the normal attacks. And I'm pretty sure that this is actually a crit. So this means that if your vacuum blade can actually crit, this weapon is actually very strong. You can actually just you can go with a crit build and your normal and vacuum blade could crit, and this is very strong. I think that this is actually a very cool claymore because it has an interesting, and the cool thing is that, of course, the wind blade actually penetrate the first enemy, and so it can hit enemy behind it. It's not super big, like but it's a decent size. So I think that if the enemy are near, they can actually get hit by the Vacuum Blade. So it's nice, but of course the damage output is pretty insane because it's your normal damage that you do. So let's say that you do 8 attacks. So it's your normal damage multiplied by 8 plus the 80% of your attack that will be transformed in damage, multiplied even by 8 because you do 8 Vacuum Blade. And so you actually deal an insane amount of damage. Then the only thing that you can actually, like this weapon, you can go with a more energy recharge build, so your ultimate recharge faster and you can use your ultimate faster, and so activate this passive more often. And the only problem is the cooldown of your skill. So usually if you have a character with a low cooldown skill, or I know that there is cooldown reduction as a statistic, but I don't know if there is actually an artifact that can drop it. Right now I don't think, but you can actually just go, the other artifact set can go like energy recharge, it's of course nice. You could go with a bit of attack, because this having a strong attack with this weapon is actually nice. I think that with this weapon it's actually better to have an artifact set with attack instead of damage bonus, simply because this damage deal 80% of your attack. So if you have a stronger attack, the Vacuum Blade deal more damage. So you lose a bit of damage because you don't have a strong damage multiplier, but I think that it's better to have just an attack, either attack percent artifact. So you lose a bit of damage, but your Vacuum Blade deal more damage. And then you could try with a crit build, but I don't know if it's actually very worth, because this weapon have no crit rate, no crit damage bonus. So it's a bit of you will go with a bit of crit rate and hope that your Vacuum Blade crits. It's always nice to have a bit of crit rate, but I think that an attack percent build is actually very strong, with a bit of damage bonus, maybe physical damage bonus, and you can go with this weapon with no problem. And the cool thing is that this weapon is actually strong, in my opinion, on every character in the game, because they just use their ultimate and they now deal a bunch of damage. So this weapon is actually very strong on every character. Like, of course, there are characters that are better than others, like Diluc is one, if not the best claymore user in the game. But this weapon is strong, in my opinion, on every character. Maybe there are characters that are a bit stronger because they have, like Razor, in my opinion, it's a bit very strong with this weapon. But I think that this can actually work on every character that you have. And I think that this may actually be one of the best claymore in the game. I actually like this even better than the Wolf Greystone and the Unforged, because the Unforged is actually a bit of a copy-paste from the Memory of Dust, but that's the main problem of the weapon. So yeah, the Skyward Pride, in my opinion, is a very strong claymore. If you have it, use it, and destroy all enemy you have in your path, because the damage output is insane. And that's all for this video. You're gonna see on the next one, that will be by the Unforged, the other claymore in the game. And so, see ya!